So at first let me show you my setup here. This is my 7-string guitar, the Schecter Jeff Loomis signature model, the very first one. Pickups are the AHB3 blackouts from Seymour Duncan, and I go straight from the guitar into my interface, which is a Focusrite Scarlett 6i6 2nd generation. No DI box or whatever, so it's a pretty straight and simple setup. So let's open up the Plini X plugin here. So we have the pedals, we have the amps, we have the cabinets here, we have the EQ section, and the modulation pedals here. And let's start with a rhythm guitar tone for metal. Let's start with no tweaking at all, just the default setting. And let's hear how this sounds. And of course, the first thing, I hear a lot of reverb. So let's deactivate the reverb here. And now we have a completely dry sound. So we have a little bit of clipping on the input section. Let's reduce the input. Let's try -1 dB at first. And the first thing, of course, we want more gain. But at first, let's see what cabinets are activated here. So we have a Dynamic 57, which is based on a Shure SM57, and we have a Ribbon 160, which is based on a Biodynamic M160. And I don't want to change this because I like the sound already, to be honest. So let's add an overdrive pedal here. And let's put the drive to 0 because I don't want more drive. Just a clean boost. And the tone, I think it's going from dark to more bright. So let's test this. Yes, that's right. So let's put it in the middle here. And let's go full on with the level knob. So, and now let's do some adjustments on the amp EQ here. Let's reduce the mids a little bit more treble, a little bit more presence. And let's engage the bright mode here. And I like the sound already, to be honest. But let's go to the EQ section here. And let's see if we can tweak the sound a little bit more. And at first, let's reduce the low end a little bit. And add more of 250. Let's say around 3 dB. It's getting a little bit muddy here. Let's reduce it a little bit. And let's add some bite to the guitar sound. So let's go for 8K here. And let's say 3 dB. And yes, now I'm boosting 4K, which is quite unusual. But let's do it anyway. Let's say around 2 dB. And And now the guitar sound has a lot more bite in the upper mids, which is really important in my opinion. I know a lot of people don't like this, but I do. And let's go a little bit more with 8K here. Let's say plus 4 dB. And now I really like the guitar sound. We have very tight low end and very tight low mids. And one thing I want to do is to counterbalance the upper mid boost a little bit. So I add a little bit of 500, which is also quite unusual. Let's say 1 dB and a little bit of 1K. Let's say around 2 dB here. And yeah, that's it for the first rhythm tone here with M2. So now let's create a lead guitar tone, and for this I use the default mode, but the third amp of the plugin. And again, let's hear how this sounds without any tweaking. And again, a lot of reverb. It sounds nice, but we want to create this lead guitar tone totally from scratch. So let's deactivate this first. And let's switch to the bright mode here and add more gain. And for my personal taste for a lead guitar tone, I almost always want less low end, definitely more mids, maybe the same amount of high end, sometimes a little bit more, and definitely more gain. So let's play with the amp EQ here a little bit. Let's add a little bit more treble and presence, more mid-range, less bass. And let's also add the overdrive pedal here, put the drive to 0, add some clean boost here. And let's go for a more brighter tone. And let's hear how this sounds. And I like the tone already, but let's add some space here. So, and here again, for my personal taste, I always start with a delay pedal. Maybe I add a tiny bit of reverb later, but I always start with a delay. So let's engage it here. And I always go for a mix at around, let's say 20 to 30%. And let's leave the tone knob in the middle here. Let's deactivate the ping pong delay. And quarter notes are engaged, that's okay for now. And what I like to do is to mute the strings, like right now. Hit the strings. And then I listen to the echoes. And most of the time I want 2, maybe 3 echoes. And as you can hear now, there are a lot more. And then I play with the mix and the feedback knob to achieve this. So let's reduce the feedback a little bit. So with the feedback knob you can control the amount of the echoes. So for example, here we have a lot of repeatings. And here we have less echoes. And this sounds great to me. And that sounds great to me already. And then you can experiment with the feedback knob a little bit, and let's say it depends on the tempo of the song and how busy, fast or slow the solo or the melody is, and you can choose more echoes and a little bit more of the mix knob. This setting is good for more slow melodies, and for faster stuff I definitely want less echoes, and I go a little bit down with the mix knob. It sounds good to me. And now let's add a little bit of reverb. Let's go for the mix knob, let's say around 30%. Let's reduce the space a little bit. And let's leave the decay there and listen how this sounds. So, and I like the sound already. So now we have a good sounding lead guitar tone, but we can spice up the tone a little bit more. So let's go to the EQ section here. And what I like to do is to add more mid-range here. Because when you add more mid-range with this EQ section, it sounds different than with the EQ knobs from the amp itself. So let's add a little bit of 1K here, a little bit of 2K. Let's reduce 16K a little bit, and let's also reduce a little bit of the low end, but not too much. And let's listen how this sounds. And now we have a great sounding mid-range here. You can also a little bit of 500, so the sound gets a little bit more nasal, but be careful with this. So let's say 1.3 dB of 500. And this is a lead guitar tone I really like. So, and now we have a great sounding lead guitar tone, at least for my taste. We have a really nice mid-range, we have not too much low end, a well-balanced high end, and a little bit of reverb and delay for the space. And in my opinion, the Plini plugin was always great for lead sounds, and the new Plini X plugin, it's the same. It sounds and feels amazing. And yeah, so I hope you get some helpful informations out of this video. If so, please subscribe to my channel to support me. Hit the like button, hit the bell button, and see you on the next one.